Coming up on Look Today, well, we go out to polling stations in the community and speak to residents why it is important to vote. Got details. Plus, leaders of Warren County meet with law firms to discuss possible legal action against opioid distributors and manufacturers. More on that coming up. And Salvation Army seeking aid to help in the distribution of food in time for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I've got those details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with John Aldrich. He's a lawyer with the firm Bond, Shenick and King, and he's here to talk about how the proposed tax plan could affect people in our communities. This is part 2 of my interview with him. And I also sit down with Mike Romanowski and Chris Collins. They're co-founders of an organization called Freedom Machines, and they're here to talk about the process of recovery through exercise and cycling. Plus, we got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, as you well know, today is Election Day, and voters will choose their representatives and vote on referendums that affect our communities. Now, as we've stated many times, it's important for people to go out and exercise the right to vote. That's the basic tenet of our democracy. So, we selected some polling stations today where we spoke to a number of people why it's important to vote.
I think it's every citizen's right and, frankly, obligation to participate in government.
It's one of the important things in our democratic system. On a local level, it's important to vote because this is where democracy starts. And for this particular election, it's important to vote on the issue about changing the city form of government, which I am voting no because I'm afraid of reassessment and high taxes.
Voting in local elections is the most personal kind of voting you're going to be able to do as a citizen. You're able to affect directly the community around you. You have the ability to meet candidates in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to. And you're voting for the well-being of your neighbors as well as yourself.
You know, we talked to a lot of people, but those 3 people are a real nice cross-section of just what a lot of people were saying to us today. All right, in breaking news, Warren County leaders met, and they met with some law firms on whether or not they will pursue litigation against opioid distributors and manufacturers. This is big. Now, this is an ongoing movement nationally, as you may know, where numerous counties and municipalities are beginning to take legal action against drug makers. Now, we spoke to Saratoga County officials today, and we're in contact with Warren County representatives as well. And we are going to interview them in the coming days and have a full report on this breaking news. All right, switching from news to weather. Parts of the Tri-North County saw some snow. Yes, I said the word snow. Let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser with your first look weather update here on Look TV. For the national outlook for tonight, we have high pressure now filtering into much of the central U.S. This cold front now making its way through the deep south. That high pressure over the Gulf of Mexico is still pretty stubborn. Low pressure across portions of the Appalachian Mountains, the southern Appalachian Mountains. Another low pressure just off the New Jersey shore. A secondary high pressure towards southeastern Canada. For us tonight, regionally, 20s and 30s. Maybe a few spots towards Buffalo, New York, Burlington, Vermont, Bangor, Maine in the upper teens. Albany 21, the overnight low. Across the Capital District, generally upper teens to lower 20s. Fort Edward, Whitehall 22, 21 respectively. Glens Falls will see a low of 21. Some upper teens as you head towards the north and northwest and at higher elevation. Mostly cloudy with that north breeze going calm, roughly 5 or so miles per hour. Sunshine back in the mid-40s, so at least we'll get to moderate back up for your Wednesday. Will still be chilly, but very seasonal for this time of the year. Only lower to mid-30s through the 8 a.m. walk out the door. As we take a look at the extended forecast, back in the upper 40s for highs after another chilly low of 22 degrees on Thursday. Mostly sunny, but that cold front will make its way through the area. We'll only see lower to mid-30s for highs after lows near 20 degrees for Friday, but even chillier as we head towards Saturday morning, 11, and that will do. That will do it for the first look weather update here on Look TV. I'm meteorologist Clarence Sponsor. Now send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Clarence. If this keeps up, I might have to take the boat out of the water. Back to the news. Salvation Army of Greater Glens Falls is seeking food drive partners for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner preparations. Now, in the past 4 years, the Salvation Army has seen a decline in the amount of food donated for these drives. Now, last year, the Salvation Army served nearly 2,000 people. So they're seeking partners to help them meet the demand. We spoke to Major Dave Dean about this.
We did over 400 families for Thanksgiving, then another 500 for Christmas. So, we only have a couple days to reload and start the whole process over again to get into the Christmas season. So, Thanksgiving food we literally need in the door in the next 2 weeks. Christmas food, once we hit that final day of distribution, anything that comes in too late to sort and put in a bag or that we have to purchase will go into the Christmas fund.
Please, if you can donate, please do. You know how many families rely on Thanksgiving Christmas dinners. In other news, Shelters of Saratoga launched a digital campaign. Now, the shelter is encouraging people to donate as well. Now, the money will fund all services the shelter provides. Now, we spoke to Rosemary Reedhammer. She's Director of Development and Marketing for Shelters of Saratoga.
This is another way to give back to the organization if you're interested. And so a couple of other ways that you can do that as well is to volunteer at Code Blue or even Shelters of Saratoga. The information is right on our websites. And then you could also get our wish list online if you prefer to give an item.
Now, this is a time of year where we should definitely help those less fortunate than ourselves. Up next, I sit down with John Aldrich. He's a lawyer. He's with the firm Bond, Shenik & King, big law firm. And he's here to talk about how the proposed tax plan will affect people in our communities. Now, this is part 2 of my interview with him. Plus, I also sit down with Mike Romanowski and Chris Collins. They've got a company called they've got a company called Freedom Machines. And they're here to talk about the process of recovery through exercise and cycling. Very interesting conversation. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Election Day, so we're running tight on time. A couple of quick reminders. If you catch an early broadcast, head over to Cafe Lena. It's jazz at Cafe Lena with Chuck Lamb and some very, very talented musicians. And also, just hats off to everyone who voted. It's our democracy, and it's our opportunity to get our voices heard and set the agenda for what we believe are the priorities in government. And tonight on Look TV, it's a Queensbury Town Board meeting. It's a new one. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.